microphone here. And I think we are live. We're a couple of minutes early, but that's all right because let me just make sure I'm in my view here because it takes some time anyway, doesn't it, for the live to catch up. You don't often do lives, do you?
No, I've done it a couple of times, but it's not. I don't know. I don't really like it.
Yeah, I do it for my members. I do lives, but I'm not a big fan of doing live streams otherwise either. I don't know. It's like
Yeah,
some people love live streams, and I actually quite enjoy watching live streams. I like having them on when I'm like cleaning and stuff like that.
yeah,
I like to
same.
listen to them, but I personally to engage in them. I think it's because I think they're quite tiring. So
Yeah, yeah, it is, and yeah, it does. And the time goes so quick as well, though. I noticed when I did my
yeah.
live, I was ended up on there for like 3 hours. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
fucking
I
hell.
can't be
That
doing
is a
that.
long life.
Yeah,
No, no, don't worry, it won't be 3 hours. I need to eat and walk my dogs.
yeah,
Bodybuilding life,
same.
right? All right. So, welcome to the channel. I think many people will know who you are anyway, but for those who don't know, this is Louise's journey. And Louise has a channel as well called Louise's Journey. And how much weight have you lost? And what was your heaviest weight?
I've lost over 120 pounds now, so technically, like my most, like for my main weight, I would say
Yeah.
120 pounds, and my highest weight was 269 pounds,
And how tall are
which
you?
5'7".
Right, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Louise actually did a show last weekend and she won her transformation category. And I thought it would be just nice to catch up because, yeah, because I think we have quite the overlapping audience. But on her channel, what she does is she does a lot of vlogging. She does a lot of what I eat in a days. And I thought it would be interesting just to have a catch up to see what you liked about prep, the experience of it all. Her approach to dieting is very different from my approach to dieting, and I just figured we just talk about all things bodybuilding and dieting, and just have a bit of a natter, right? Basically.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So tell me,
Uh,
how good is that first glass of water or that bottle of water
oh
when you
my
get on stage?
days.
It's
I
amazing,
know
isn't it?
I know you said it, yeah. I know you said it. And then I was like, yeah, it'll be food, it'll be food. As soon as I got off the stage, I ran to the table and I drank all of my water. I had like so much water I was drinking. I also had like a Lucozade Sport that someone told me
Yeah.
that would be good to have off. I drank all of it. I could not stop drinking. Oh my
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is the
it was
best
so
thing.
good.
Food is nice, but what kind of approach did you take for your show day? Were you eating quite a lot throughout the day, or were you kind of just set in like having small meals, or did you
Yeah.
have like a big carb up beforehand before you went on stage, or were you quite sort of diligent and have like a couple of candies and a little bit of chocolate, or what did you do?
So in the morning I had like chicken with like salt and then like rice cakes. And that's basically what I was having like the whole day. Like I had 3 meals set for them. And then between that, I was separating like all I was basically eating was like rice cakes and almond butter and then jam, rice cakes and jam. And I was just
Yeah,
having it like every couple of hours, like one or two. But I didn't eat like too much before because otherwise, like my stomach, if I eat too much, it will just like bloat out at the bottom.
yeah,
And then for the sweets, I was like having like a handful. I had jelly babies. Oh my days, are so nice.
yeah,
And Haribos. And I was just having like before I went on stage, I had like a handful, and then like a little bit before that, about half an hour before that, I had a handful, and then was like pumping up, and then yeah, that's it. And then I had some Reese's Pieces. I know you said about that, so I had a couple
yeah,
of them before I went
yeah.
on transformation. Yeah,
They're good because they have both like fats and chocolate. So it's
yeah.
like you have the sugars and the fats as well. So it's quite nice for a pump. So how did you feel about the whole show day experience?
I can't explain it. I was like really like when I woke up in the morning, I wasn't really anxious. I was just excited. I was like, okay, I just want to get it done now. I want to get over and done with. And then like just before I went on stage, where we did the parade, which I was like I felt really good because I was with so many people. But then just before I went on for Bikini, I was so anxious. I was like, what am I doing? How am I going to do this? And then I just did it. And then after that, because I felt like I messed up a little bit on my bikini routine because as soon as I got on stage, like my legs just went like jelly. Like I couldn't stand properly. Like when I was there, I was just like, and then I fell a little bit, not fell, but I don't know if you saw it when I did I wobbled a little bit. And then in my head, I felt like I proper messed up. So I came off stage and I was like, had the adrenaline and everything. And I was like, oh, I messed it up. How am I going to do transformation? And then I came out to these and they were like, no, you looked completely fine. And then after that, I was like, I can do it. I was just excited to get on for transformation.
It's a nice feeling though, isn't it, being on stage? I love being on stage.
Yeah.
I always rush my routines though. I always have done, because you just like the adrenaline does go.
Yeah.
But it is such a nice feeling.
Yeah. I think I rushed a bit on the bikini routine because it was obviously my first time. I've never done it before. So like I rushed a bit. And then so when I went on for transformation, I made sure I slowed it down, and I just tried to enjoy it because I was like, this is the last time I'm going to do it. Like this routine for my transformation, and I was more focusing on the transformation one. So I was like, okay, just slow down and enjoy it. And I really, with my transformation routine, I just really enjoyed it. And I came off, I was just really happy. I was like, yeah, I did it.
So do you think you'll compete again?
I do want to compete again, yeah. But just, I want to take at least a whole year. I feel like my body needs a break, like a break. And so does like my mind. I feel like I just want to get back to a really healthy place with like food and just everything, training. And then I do want to do it again, but just I want to have a nice break. I don't want to be like, I know a lot of people like do so many shows in a year, like straight after, like one after each other. I just don't think, I just want to go back to balance at the minute.
I think it's smart. It's not necessarily a bad thing to do a couple of shows in the same sort of time frame, but I personally don't think it's very productive or like, productive or like even smart to do too many shows, because at the end of the day, even if you use performance enhancers, if you put yourself in like such a depleted state for so long, you're just gonna lose muscle tissue. And like whether you take gear or not, it takes a lot of time to build muscle. So if you then spend, say, a whole year building muscle, and then the following year you spend 6 months being like essentially in a starvation mode where you're just trying to maintain anything. I find with a lot of people that do a lot of shows, usually speaking, what happens is they look good for the first few shows, and towards the end they just start looking like a bit like sinewy, and I don't know, like the it just goes. But that's understandable. If you've been like stage lean for 6 months, it's not it's hard.
I can see how you would start losing muscle, because even like right to the end, you can't train properly, and I started feeling really flat and just like not the best. It's just I'm happy that I can start eating more and like training and just enjoying training again and getting actually a good pump, because when you're depleted, it's kind of shit.
Yeah, you kind of get used to that though, I think, after some time. Do you find that now that you're in because you're doing a reverse diet, right? Your calories are not actually that much higher from
it's quite low at the minute still. Yeah.
But do you feel, because I always find that even though I do reverse dieting as well, and I think everybody should do reverse dieting, because if you just pack on a lot of weight quickly after a show, like that messes with your head big time. But I always find that even though I do a reverse diet and I kind of stick to the same calories and have the similar sort of like cardio output pre-show as I do post-show, I don't feel anywhere near as like tired, like exhausted. And I think it is just the stress of competing. Like if they're so heavy on you, especially in those last few weeks, that is almost more tiring than just being hungry.
Yeah. I agree. I was thinking I'm still on quite low calories, but I feel so much more refreshed. And I do think it is just a stress. Like you don't have to be like, you could be so much more relaxed. Like it was raining the other day and I didn't have to stress like, okay, well, I have to get my steps in. And just little things like that where you feel like you just have to be so strict. Whereas like just knowing that you can just relax just a little bit, like it's nice.
So I've got an interesting question here. I'll just say, guys, like I am keeping an eye on the chat, but I'll integrate questions if I see any that I think are good to discuss. But it's not necessarily that we're going to be super interactive in the chat. So just take that on board. Like that's not to be because it's going to be difficult to manage everything otherwise, basically. But we've got a good question from Jenny here. Do you find it addicting, the hard work and the cutting, the high of the competition? Will normal life be boring now? So I thought that was quite interesting. What's your thoughts on that?
I guess so. It's the hard work and the hard cutting. I would just say when you start seeing results, that's what you find addicting, and the high of the competition definitely is. I can see how that could be quite addicting, because I want to do it again, because it is, when you come off the stage, you do have that massive adrenaline and you're like, I want to get up there and do it again. And in like the prep, even though it's really hard, I really did enjoy it, and I do enjoy like pushing myself and just doing and seeing my body changing and stuff like that. So yeah, it is addicting, because I do want to do it again. So
Yeah, I like it as well for those reasons. I don't think the cutting itself is addictive. I think it's just interesting to see where you can mentally and physically push yourself.
yeah,
Because I do things in prep that when I'm out of prep, I say this all the time. Like it's easy, like it's I can say it's easy for me to like comment on people when they're dieting. But the reality is that if you're dieting to look good for the beach, is way harder than dieting for a show. I don't know what
yeah,
it is, but when you're in that mindset of competing, you're just like, it's just a laser focus. And that's it. Like it's not a question of like, oh, do I need to do my cardio, or like, oh, I can't be bothered to do this. It's like, no, I do
yeah,
this because I'm competing. And that in itself, it's nice, but it's hard at the same time, because like you have no life, kind of. But
yeah.
it's nice because you know what your life is going to be. You just know every day you're doing this. So it has its pros and its cons. I don't know where the fuck I was going to go with that then. Well, about like the addiction of it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right, that's right. So it's like, I think it's not necessarily cutting and getting lean. I think it's
yeah,
just the process of challenging yourself. I think that is that's the most rewarding thing of it all. What did you find hardest about prep?
I would say the hardest was just being tired, and I would say the hardest would be not being able to sleep, and that was more like the last week of prep,
Yeah, you were
where
so
I
lucky with
couldn't
that.
sleep. Yeah, where I couldn't sleep. Like I was so tired. Like my body was so tired. My eyes were tired. Everything. And I'll be laying there for hours, closing my eyes, like not looking at anything, not looking at no light, and like I just couldn't make myself sleep. And then you'd wake up the next day and just feel tired, and just like the lack of energy, like not being able to, like just feeling tired, like halfway through the day, just feeling so tired, but you can't sleep. And then
Yeah.
and then also like you've got so much stuff to do. I didn't even have time to try and fit in a nap. So I just have to be like tired. And then like I just didn't, and the thing is, this isn't like the whole of prep. This was literally last like couple of weeks, but that was like the hardest. And then like the sacrifices you have to make, like I've just literally focusing just on prep a lot. And I felt like I couldn't, I don't know, just little things like being able to go out for a meal with the family, take my kids out. Like, well, I was taking them out, but like I wasn't able to be fully present there, because I was either always thinking about prep and everything, and then not being able to, like, if we were going out for a meal, like I'll take the kids out for a meal and that, and I would be just sat there, either bring my own food or just sat there waiting to go eat at home, and then like everyone else is like just enjoying it, just having like more balance. So yeah, I found that a bit hard.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of people think that the hunger is hard, but I find the hunger, you just kind of get used to that. That's
yeah,
one of
you
those
told
things,
me
like
that.
you're just hungry all the time. That just becomes
Yeah,
normal. But I also find that it's the tiredness, like the fatigue, the
yeah,
extremely low energy, that is challenging, and you just become moody as well. You just don't even know you
yeah,
are.
yeah,
You just become not a very nice person to be around towards
yeah.
again.
Yeah, I agree. I feel so sorry for Ashley and Rashan, and just like literally, even my sister on my days, like my sister's quite sensitive, and when she came, like we were all together, and the day before show, I was so moody because I was just so tired. I think I was actually coming down with an illness, because like I had really bad body aches and stuff, but I thought it was just from being tired. But then Ashley told me the day before she wasn't well, and then Rashan was not well the other day, so I think it was like a little bug as well. But I was just so grumpy, and my sister's like quite sensitive, so I was being a little bit snappy, and she was like, all right. I was like, I'm sorry. And then I started crying. I was like, I don't mean to be like this. But I'm so happy. As soon as I got food, I was like so happy. They were like, wow, you're like a different person, you're back to Louise. I was like, yeah, I was just hangry that like the last couple of weeks.
It really is a thing. What did you have for your post show cheat?
Oh my days, I had a burger. It was like a burger. I added cheese and bacon in there, and I added onion rings on the top. Oh my days, I had chips with it, and then pudding. We had a brownie, and like It's a brownie with some like ice cream and whipped cream. Oh, so
Yeah.
nice.
Did you feel weird being like actually full up? Because I found that very
Yeah,
strange after a long period of dieting.
yeah,
That's another thing, like a lot of people don't talk about that, but because you're always hungry and you get used to it and you're just always eating small amounts of food, when you actually eat a large volume of food and you feel really full up, it's just a really weird sensation
yeah,
because your body is just not used to being actually full.
yeah. Yeah, I was so full. I think I got a bit greedy, yeah, because I added all the extras, and then I had the brownie and that, and then after I was like, I literally couldn't move, and I opened my trousers, I was like, I can't move, and I was like, on my days, I just felt so weird because I was so full up. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have had the brownie, but yeah, it is what it is. And then when I got home, I actually like ended up getting like stomach cramps as well. Like I didn't
Mm.
know I was gonna get that, but yeah, I got like stomach cramps because I
Yeah,
guess
your
my body
body's not
wasn't used
used.
to eating
Yeah,
that, but
the
yeah,
volume and the food itself probably. How have you
yeah.
been doing? How have you been doing this? Obviously you had the day of the show. I guess the next day you were a bit more free with your food intake as well. How have you been
Yeah.
doing it ever since then? Are you just doing like if it fits your macros calorie counting approach, or what is it you're doing now to?
Yeah, so Sunday in the morning I had cake for breakfast because we bought a cake. So I had cake and coffee for breakfast, and then we went out to all you can eat Chinese, and I had loads of food there. And then so that was like my Sunday was like cake and Chinese. And then from Monday I started like my reverse diet, my 1600 calories. So I started tracking again. I've basically eaten the same as what I've been normally eating. So I had like my porridge for breakfast, salad, and then chicken and veg for dinner. I didn't actually eat 1,600 calories on Monday because I was still kind of full up from the food I ate on the weekend. So I think I had like 1,400, and then yesterday 1,000, nearly 1,700. I'm giving myself a range between 1,600, 1,700,
Yeah.
and yeah, just eating basically what I was eating before, like just normal food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, in
yeah,
terms of your prep and dieting, because like your approach is very different from what I do. So, I follow more of a traditional bodybuilding approach, where you're a bit more of
yeah,
the modern way. Uh, so, I follow a meal plan, and I can kind of switch around some of my macros, not my macros, but for example, like my protein sources. If I have fish or chicken, it doesn't really matter too much, but that's it. So, but do you do calorie counting or did you do, oh, well, so she said, did you do calorie counting or did you do macro counting? Because I'm a bit unclear about that.
oh what
In prep.
So both, in prep both. So I would get like my calorie goal, and then like my coach would send me my macros as well.
Hmm.
So like obviously I had to kind of like fit it all within my macros during prep. But at the minute, so I've got macros, like a macro guideline, but I don't want to stress with macros at the minute. I think while I'm reverse dieting, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go with more calories, make sure I'm hitting my protein, make sure I'm getting enough fats and carbs, and like just kind of at the end of the day kind of aim to hit the macro goals that I've been set, but I'm not stressing about it because I need a mental break from tracking macros,
Yeah.
because I was like planning my meals before to make sure during prep I was the night before, at least I would plan my meals for the day after to make sure that they hit the macro goals to the gram almost. And
Yeah.
it was just stressful because I'd be like, oh, I can't have this because I've got to make sure I've got to, oh, I've gone over my protein and I've not hit my fat, so I have to swap it around. And I just found that just stressful, and I like to
Yeah.
have a more relaxed, flexible approach. So I'm more relaxed at the minute, more flexible. So if I don't hit my fats or I don't hit my protein, well, I've always hit my protein, but yeah, if I don't hit the
Yeah.
carbs or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's more calories.
Yeah. But you
And
kind of
then
have to, you do have to be strict like that though in a prep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But at the minute now, I'm just kind of like making sure I'm hitting within my calorie goal and making sure I've got enough protein, enough fats, and kind of just whatever with the rest. And then after I've got back to like a maintenance, and then we want to start building and taking it a bit more seriously, then I'll take macros a little bit more seriously. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think when you do, I think a lot of, if it fits your macros, I have dieted on it before. I've personally had better results meal prepping, but obviously for what I do, I need to get a lot leaner as well. So, but I think it does work. I think the problem is with like if it fits your macros, which is where you basically fit, well, you basically fit your macros around where you fit your food into your macro goals, is what I should say. Is that feel like on social media in particular, it gets a bad rep because you see all these influencers and they're all basically fitting fucking McDonald's and burgers
Yeah.
and shit like that, which the whole point of it is that you can. So like technically you can fit McDonald's or a donut or something like that into your daily calories. But I think when you're in a prep as well, I think you just don't want to eat like that for the simple reason
Yeah.
that it's all well and good to it's tasty, but the reality is that food isn't very filling. So you are potentially just
Yeah.
annihilating half of your daily allowance on a meal that's going to make you feel hungry
Yeah.
within an hour of eating it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do that on my, like, when I fit it within my macros, but I didn't, while I was on prep, I never kind of tried to fit McDonald's or donuts or anything like that. I think I had like 2 protein bars, like the whole of
Yeah.
prep, just because that was more convenient when I was out, and I bloody enjoyed it. But it is like, for me, is during prep, it's like, why am I going to waste so many calories on such a small amount of food when I know I'm cutting and I need, like, I like to eat high volume, so I go for more like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that
Yeah.
anyway. So,
but you even
yeah.
track things like your lettuce and things like that, hey?
Yeah, I track everything.
Everything. Yeah, you see, this is
Yeah.
again like I've never tracked my vegetables because it's like it's kind of I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's negligible because they have calories in them, and obviously if you eat large volumes of vegetables, you need to track it because it is those calories. But like a
Yeah.
serving of veggies, like leafy, like non-starch vegetables, I should say, it's
Yeah.
neither here nor there. But you were even like tracking your sugar-free sauces and like not mayonnaise, but like mustard and things like everything,
Yeah.
literally
I
every
don't.
single thing.
Yeah. With I did before start trying to track like the, like the Skinny Food Co syrups that are like 0
Yeah, it
calories.
became
During prep, I didn't track them, but yeah, like things like mustard, sugar-free, ketchup, Nando sauce, all of that kind of stuff. I do track.
yeah.
Because it
And in
does all
ter-
add up, especially how much I have, how much
yeah, yeah.
of the sauces and stuff I have. If I had like just a little bit, it wouldn't make a difference. But yeah, I do have quite a bit. So
Yeah, you did have to start cutting out these sugar-free sauces towards the
yeah,
end, right? Because
I did. For the last week, I cut it all out, which was a bit depressing. But it was only 1 week in it, so it's fine.
yeah. So there's quite an interesting question here. It's for you. How is your current relationship with food from a mental point of view? It must have changed a lot from being overweight, losing all the weight, training for the show, and then now you're in post-show.
Yeah, I think I've got quite a good relationship with food. I don't think prep has actually changed that, to be honest. Before, obviously, when I was bigger, I just looked as food as more of like a comfort, like an emotional thing. And I think prep has actually massively helped with that, because even when I was like emotional, I can't just turn to food. Even like if I was to make a low calorie ice cream or whatever, just because I'm emotional, I didn't, if I already planned my meals, I couldn't go off track and like not to do that. So
Yeah.
I had to be a lot more like, if I got emotional and I felt like eating, it's like, well, you can't. So you
Yeah.
deal with the emotions more. And in post show, like, I don't know. I'm at the minute. We're only like not even a week out yet, but I feel good. So
Yeah, I think it's been for myself the first few times I've done competing. I think now that first of all there's a lot more transparency around competing and the ups and the downs of it compared to when I did it. Because like the first time I did it, nobody really talked about things like that at all. Like nobody talks about post show and like how it can be bad for your mental health. And obviously as somebody that has had eating disorders, like how it can potentially trigger them again. Um, the importance of reverse dieting, a lot of that stuff was not really, it just wasn't spoken about. Like this was the
yeah,
when I got into bodybuilding, it was when like the shreds and stuff, was it called Shreds, that company? Yeah, like when bodybuilding, you see all the fitness models that are like super lean and prepping is easy, and we're all we're doing is like
yeah,
eating pizza all day long, but we're all natural, and it was like the illusion of bodybuilding was quite different from what it is now. And I think now a lot more people are opening up on it,
yeah,
so I think that's
yeah.
probably good.
That massively helped me mentally prepare. Like you speaking about it, and I know a couple of other people that spoke about it as well, and that massively helped. Because if I just went into like it blind, thinking, yeah, it's going to be so easy, and then like once the show's done, then it's done, and I can just do whatever and not worry about it, then I think that would have been harder, but I've been able to kind of mentally prepare, like, yeah, my body is going to change. I'm going to gain body fat, and you can't just like get off the show and then just start eating, carry on eating like as much food as you want. Because obviously your body is like, when you're low body fat and you've been kind of starving for so long, your body is like hungry, and like I think it messes up like your hunger cues and your fullness cues, doesn't it? So like all your body wants to do is just keep eating and eating.
Yeah.
Like even on like Sunday, I knew I was full when I went to the Chinese restaurant, but like I just kept wanting to get more food, and I was like, I understand that my body is hungry and it wants to gain body fat, and it's like it's been starving. It just wants to hoard all the food. So I understand that. But like on Sunday, I was like, okay, I need to like relax. And then on Monday, just like start tracking again, because I can see how easy it is to just carry on.
And the thing is as well, it's like people think that you can't undo like 3, 4, 5 months of dieting in a week. You absolutely can. You absolutely, I have seen people gain like 10 to 15, 20 pounds in a week. And they haven't necessarily said that and bench ate every day either. It's just they've gone from being super, super, super strict to not being strict at all. And that doesn't mean that they're just constantly gorging themselves. It's just you've gone from being from weighing out everything meticulously, eating chicken and rice and like just, I don't know, whatever else with it, to just eating like, I don't know, having like a coffee and then the thing here and the thing there. And it adds on quickly. And a lot of people don't realize that is mentally, it's very difficult to cope with, to see your body. Do you see yourself? That's a question I should ask actually. Do you see yourself as lean now? Because in prep, there were a few times where you're like, oh, I'm not so sure. I'm not sure. I'm like, yeah, trust me, you are lean. You are definitely lean. But do you now like look back at those pictures and go like, I am, or are you still kind of, I wouldn't say body dysmorphic, because obviously you don't feel bad about it, but it's natural when you look at yourself every single day, you're being judged on how you look, you become kind of like almost disillusioned with where you are. Do you feel like that's changed? Do you see yourself? Because I'm looking at you now and you still have like veins and stuff, you know, you're still lean.
I literally I know, I was so happy when I started getting like veins down my arms. I was like, yes. It's so weird how you get so happy over veins, isn't it? Like I remember I had like veins going in my abs and like down here. I was like, oh my god. And I sent you the video. I was like, no, I look back, when I look at the pictures, I'm like, oh my god, is that me? Like I can't believe it. I feel like when I look at the pictures, I look really lean, and I'm like, wow. Like even on show day, I knew I was looking lean, but then like when they were taking pictures and I was looking at it, I was like, wow, like is that me? Because like my legs actually leaned out as well, because that's something I was worried about. And like they look so lean.
In the video you posted where you're on stage and you're walking, like your glutes actually came in towards the end, like you could see the lines, the some of like it's not feathering, but you could see the lines in the glutes, and I'm like, it's one of those things, like some body parts just lean out quicker than others, but your show day package was absolutely on point, and that's all that matters, really.
I think I definitely did. We was able to like peak for the show, because like my legs obviously must have been holding loads of water as well, because obviously we stopped training them like 5 days out, and then thankfully like I had no energy the day before the show, so I was literally laying down most of the day anyway, and like like just my legs came in, and like I didn't realize, because I wasn't looking that much in the mirror like before I went on the show or anything. So then when I see the videos, I'm like, wow, my legs, like I was just I can see that I'm really lean, but like right now I think I'm up like 4 pounds from show weight. So I don't feel as lean. I definitely, I think as well when I dehydrated, like my stomach and everything looked like a lot more, like the skin looked a lot more thinner, so I don't feel as lean obviously as show day, but I know I'm still pretty lean. But I did definitely have days where I felt bigger than what I was.
Stage fat. You feel stage fat. It's a thing.
It's like, you know, you're lean. Like I knew I wasn't fat, but I'm like, oh, my days, like compared to everyone else, am I going to be like fat? And that was like one of my biggest fears, was to just be on stage and not look like, not fit in and like look like the fatter one. But I think that also is just because I've always been like the fat one growing up. So I don't know whether
So what made you decide to lose weight, and what made you decide to do a bodybuilding show? Because losing weight and bodybuilding, I think that's like, I just want to say that a lot of people get into training, and a lot of people think that when they get into training or they lose weight, they need to compete. Like competing is a very particular thing that it's fun, don't get me wrong, but I think it's something that's not, I won't say that everybody's cut out for it because everybody can compete, but it's one of those things that unless you do it, I think some people love it and I think some people will hate it. So don't think that just
Yeah,
because you're losing weight or you start
yeah,
training that you have
definitely.
to compete. Competing
Yeah.
and bodybuilding for yourself are different things. But yeah,
Yeah,
tell us your story.
that's something I want to make clear as well, because I know, like, obviously I share my weight loss journey for people to want to lose weight and be like healthy, and then like I don't want anyone to think just because I competed that that's what they should do as well, because it's not for everyone. Like you said, I think it's actually for a small portion of people, because I think for a lot of people it can cause like disordered eating and stuff
Yeah,
like that, and it definitely isn't for everyone. And I know a lot of people ended up pulling out of the show as well, like that was supposed to be competing and pulled out because it is, even on the day I think a few people like didn't even want to
really.
go on. Yeah, so
That's
it
crazy.
definitely isn't for everyone. But for me, what made me want to lose weight in the first place is just because I was so sick and tired of I got to a point where I was so sick and tired of like feeling like shit all the time. I just felt so down about myself. I had no confidence, no self-esteem. I was like really depressed. I was suffering with anxiety. But it was like for a long time. Like I was just letting it carry on for ages. Like since I had my son and I'd gained all the weight, I kind of just like gave up on myself and I didn't care about myself basically. And I just ate whatever I wanted, didn't want to move. And I literally didn't love myself at all. And I was just like literally just so depressed. And I just got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I've started to realize like that my weight was actually impacting my health rather than it just being a physical, because up until like I realized it was impacting my health, it was just a physical thing. I thought I don't want to be fat, but I felt like I couldn't do anything about it. And then obviously I started realizing it was affecting my health. I was like literally we got a brand new bed and like I broke it. It was like a metal one. It was like, yeah. And I
You
laid
laugh,
in the
what?
bed. I know, it was so embarrassing. I was like, my side of the bed was like literally dipping in. I was like, what the hell? And we literally just got it, like things like that, like not being able to tie my shoes properly because I started struggling when I was pregnant, tie my shoes, but I was like, I'm pregnant, so it's like not a big thing. But then once I had my baby and I still couldn't tie my shoes, like even a year later I still couldn't like bending down because like my belly was just in the way and it was like felt like it was crushing my ribs. So I had to sit down, tie my shoes. I could barely fit in my bath. Like if I got any bigger I wouldn't have been able to have a bath in my bath anymore. Walking was just like making me so out of breath just to walk down the street. Like I couldn't even carry my own shopping up the stairs. Ashley and Rashawn always had to carry the shopping because I was so heavy that by the time I'd get to the top of the stairs, like I would get dizzy. And we would literally have like 20 steps out there. Like it's not even that much. Yeah, so and then I saw my friend, she'd lost loads of weight. I hadn't seen her in a long time. And then I see her and she'd lost so much weight. And then I was like, I can do it. Like if she can do it, I can do it. And I was just so sick and tired of feeling like it. So yeah, I got to a point where I was like, I'm losing the weight. I don't care how long it takes, but I'm doing it.
How did you get started? Like, what was your initial approach, and obviously, like, how did that change? When did you get involved with your coach that you have been with the whole time? I think he's been your coach pretty much from the beginning, eh?
Yeah, so I started on my own like for the first like I think it was like 2 or 3 months, and then yeah, I found him, and then yeah. So what I did is I basically downloaded my Fitness Pal, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start tracking my calories. I didn't like know how to work out how many calories I needed, so I just put my details into my Fitness Pal,
Gave you like
and
1,500, I bet.
it gave me 1,800. I was actually lucky it gave me 1,800
Yeah.
because yeah, if it gave me 1,500, I would have just started with that. But it gave me like 1,800 calories. So I just started tracking. I joined the gym and I did that both at the same time. So I just started tracking my calories. I started by like eating muesli, and then I saw how much calories that was for like a small amount, and then
It's shocking. It's so
yeah,
shocking,
it
isn't it? When
is.
you start tracking calories and you look at food and the quantities you get, it's just so disappointing.
Yeah,
When you
it
look
was.
at like it's such a small amount of food and you're like, yeah, 200 calories. You're like, really, you are
Yeah,
200 calories.
I
Where's
know.
my
I was like,
chicken
what the
breast?
hell is this? I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, okay, I need to find something else. But it taught me like what kind of foods I could get more calories from. And then so yeah, I just started by tracking my calories, and then I joined the gym basically on the same day, and I just went and walked on the treadmill. I put it on like an incline. Well, I kept inclining it all the way up. Then I'd get really out of breath after like 2 minutes, and then I'd like go down again and then up. And then I just did that like the 25, 30 minutes that was on there. And then
Yeah.
so I started. And then
Well,
we went into like lockdown, and I at the gym I met Pete there. He did a boot camp class because I started going to like the classes, and he was just really fun. I just kind of got on with him. I just knew I liked him as soon as like we did the class. He just seemed really fun. So then like I saw that he was doing boot camp classes outside like during the lockdown, like when we could start doing that. So I started doing that there, and then started with him.
yeah. And what made you decide to do a bodybuilding show, a competition?
Oh, I don't know. It was because I started lifting weights and started building muscle, and I just really enjoyed it. And I felt like I was building muscle quite well. Like was just enjoying it. I started like building up my arms, and then I just started getting loads of compliments about like building muscle, and had loads of people say to me, "Are you going to compete?" And that's because I never ever had a goal to compete ever. Like from the beginning, that was never my goal. I never thought that I would even lose as much weight as I did. I just wanted to just be less fat. Like I remember thinking if I get to like a size 14 stone, that I would be happy as long as I just felt good in myself. And yeah, so I started having people ask me whether I'm going to compete or not, and I was kind of like, no, I don't want to. And then I just started like getting into it, like watching it on Instagram, watching it on YouTube. I started following you, and I just started thinking like, oh, I maybe I could do that. But then I was letting like my loose skin get in the way, because I was kind of thinking, well, if there's no point of doing it if I'm not going to be able to be at least a little bit competitive, because if the loose skin is going to be covering like, because I didn't think you would be able to see any definition of my stomach or whatever, then I won't do it. So I was letting it kind of put me off. I was like, oh, there's no point. And then I was also worried about it possibly causing unhealthy eating habits, because obviously I lost weight to be healthy. So I was like, I don't want to lose all this weight and then go into prep and then it cause like an ED or anything. So I was kind of like, had that in the back of my mind. But I was kind of like, the more I was like training and building muscle, I just started thinking like, I really want to do it. I want to try it. And like, I was just like, I loved flexing my muscles and posing. And like, I remember you saying to me, you would love it. Like, you should probably try it because you would love it. And then I was like, oh, about my new skin. And then I saw about the transformation, and I was like, okay, well, they will understand because of the loose skin and that, because it's transformation categories. And then I was like, okay, maybe. And then I was like, no. I was like going back and forth with it for ages. And then I was like, do you know what? I should just do it. I'm proud of myself. And I think the longer I've been on my journey, the more like confident I am in myself, and like the more I've just kind of learned to kind of not really care what other people think. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I have a lot of faith in myself. I got to a point where I had a lot of faith in myself and my journey, and that I've maintained for like a year basically. And I felt like I was in a really good and healthy place with food. So I was like, do you know what? I believe in myself that I can do it. So just go for it. And then as soon as I said that I was going to do it, I was like, well, I'm not going back now. Even the times where I was like, what am I doing? I can't do it. I was like, well, you're going to do it because you said you're doing it. So you're bloody doing it. So
Yeah. So how do you feel that in terms of like, obviously you did a transformation category, in terms of your loose skin and stuff, how do you feel that how do you feel about that, just in terms of competing? Do you think that like now you've done it and now you've seen other girls in other categories, do you think that that's something that's going to hinder you? Because I think like you don't really notice it that much, to be honest. Like I didn't actually,
yeah.
I don't think you notice it. I mean, you can tell that there is a little bit of loose skin there, but I think you probably think it's a lot worse than what it really is. Like it's actually not, it's not bad at all. Like I don't mean that to be horrible, but you know what I'm saying? Like you can see a little, but nothing more than, for example, women that have had babies or something. You know, I don't think it's such a focal point. But how do you feel about it?
I think since actually being on stage and seeing what it looks like with the tan under the lights and stuff, like you said, like you can't really tell.
Yeah.
And when you're that lean, your skin, there's nothing really in there, so it is just flat against your stomach. And yeah, because I was more worried because I've never seen my body that lean with the loose skin, so I didn't know what it would look like on stage. But yeah, after competing and seeing, and like I've seen a few bikini girls who obviously had babies, they have loose skin like on their stomach a little bit, and they're competing. So yeah, and they've got a category called like mums that lift, which obviously they're mums, so there's some of them have got like loose skin on their stomach. And that a lot of people did actually, even in the transformation category, already have surgery to remove their loose skin.
Right.
But I will compete with loose skin. I'm personally, I don't think I'm going to get surgery to get loose skin removed. So, and I want to compete again, so I will be competing with loose skin. So
yeah. So talking of competing, as we do you think you would ever consider taking juicy vitamins?
No, I don't think I would.
Like that? No,
because I did start my journey to be healthy, so I don't have anything against anyone else that like chooses to do that. But I started like to lose weight to be healthy, and I know like competing technically isn't healthy like when you get to that level of leanness, but I think you're only that lean for like a short period of time. So I don't think I think it does obviously impact your health by being that lean, but I don't want to risk shortening my life when I've tried to elongate my life, you know what I mean? So
yeah. So there's quite an interesting question here from Jenny W. A question about being a female and an elite bodybuilder. I'm not an elite bodybuilder. I wish I was. I'm trying to become a pro, but I'm not yet. But what is the hardest part? Is the social expectation that women shouldn't be stacked or shredded? Or did you worry about being selfish? So that's probably more for you, because I'm on my own. I'm only selfish with me. But for you, like, how do you feel about the social expectations? Do you feel like, I guess that's a good question. Like, do you feel that obviously when you're a muscular woman, people are going to look at you. Do you feel that the way people look at you now, do you feel like you get judged? Like, how does that compare to when you were bigger? Did you get did people look at you then? Did you get judged then? Like, how is that? How do those two experiences like translate?
Yeah, I think in real life, I don't think I've felt. I don't know. I'm quite oblivious when I'm out. Like, I don't really notice when people look at me or whatever. And normally it will be Ashley, like, why is that person staring or whatever. But I don't really. I'm quite oblivious. Even at the gym, like I've been at the gym quite a few times throughout prep, and I've not noticed that people are staring at me, but then they come over to me and they're like, I'm so sorry I've been staring at you, but your arms look so good, your back looks so good. Like, they just come and compliment me, which is it's actually really nice, because obviously I've never had that before. And they're like, I was just staring at you. I was like, sorry, I'm in my own world. Like, I just focus. I didn't even notice. But I've not had anyone negatively look at me, or if they have, then
You've been called a man yet?
Online, yeah. No one will bloody say it to my face, though, innit? But yeah, with the shredded thing, no one has said anything to me in real life, like negatively, but I've had like messages and like comments about me looking emaciated or whatever, and I'm like too lean. But it's like I was getting lean for a show, so I'm not, do you know what I mean? Like, I've shared that I'm not trying to say that being that level of lean is healthy. I've never said, oh, I'm going to be the healthiest I've ever been when I'm standing on stage. I've never said that. But I have had a few messages like, you're looking too like emaciated or whatever, but it was for a goal. So, you know what I mean? It's part of it. Exactly. And if I didn't get as lean as I did, then like, you know, I might not have won. And
yeah,
I wanted to do my best, so I did my best. And
the thing is, though, like, you've done it fairly healthy, because you don't look gaunt in your face. I think you can always tell when people, obviously you're gonna guess, like, you've slimmed down. Sorry, hit my mic there. Like, you've slimmed down in your face, absolutely, but you still, even throughout your whole prep, you've maintained like a healthy look on your skin. You haven't looked very sunk in. It's like some people get proper like skeleton face, which is more prevalent with male bodybuilders than female bodybuilders, like at any level. But I think like that's when you can tell when women in particularly go too far, it's like you can tell with like the hair on the arms. Like I've seen female competitors that start, I don't know, is it, it's not called lupus, but it's something with an L, which like if you have like anorexia and stuff like that, you just get excessive body hair where the body is trying to keep itself warm. So you can always tell when people are over dieted, and it's just got a certain look to it. Like it's hard to
Yeah.
explain, but you don't have that. You don't have that sort of sunken. You didn't have that sunken in, over dieted look. So that means
Yeah.
that even though it is unhealthy to get lean, and well, it is really at the end of the day, there is ways around doing it as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
There's a question I saw earlier in terms of cardio, which may be interesting to touch upon, just to segue into that. For example, in my opinion, it would be really unhealthy to do hours and hours of cardio on like 700 calories. I know girls that do this, and
Yeah.
it's like if you have to get to that extent, then I don't know, you need to kind of find another coach, in my opinion. But what was
Yeah.
your highest amount of cardio that you were doing, and what
I,
was the lowest the lowest your calories went down to?
yeah. So the lowest my calories went down to was like 1,230 something. And that was for like three days for the depleting, like carb depleting. So that was the lowest that we went. And then cardio, 30 minutes on the bike for like one or 2 days. Well, but closer to the end, because I got my bike, I started doing a little bit more like the week before peak week. I was doing like 30 minutes every other night. But that was just because I wanted to do it. It was quite fun. It was like new bike, so
Yeah,
I just wanted to do it. My cardio was mostly walking, like steps, going out for walks, which my steps went up to like 16 to 18,000 steps. But yeah, that was
yeah,
it.
that's actually quite little cardio, to be fair,
Yeah.
considering. Yeah,
I did a cardio, but I've always done cardio on a Saturday for an hour, and that would just be like I'll do 30 minutes incline walk, 30 minutes elliptical, and then that's it.
yeah.
So yeah, we
Did you
didn't go excessive.
did you implement any full rest days?
Um, no, we didn't even have like a. So on a Saturday was like my rest day, but that was cardio. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was yeah. We didn't actually have like, because we ended up doing like a bro split basically, where we trained a body part like every day, and then
yeah,
Saturday was like the rest. So I was like resting each body part, but just going to the gym and training every day basically.
yeah. How did your training change during prep?
Um, it when we went more of like a bro split, because before I was training more like push pull legs and then like
Yeah,
a rest push pull legs, whereas like when the calories started getting lower and it wasn't more about like building muscle, it was more just like getting the body moving still. Yeah, we went more to like training single body part.
yeah. Did you focus on
Yeah.
bringing up as you got leaner? Did you focus on
Yeah.
bringing up certain body parts? Did you
Yeah.
dial back on other body parts to try and bring as much symmetry as possible?
Yeah, I really wanted to bring in my hamstrings and like the glutes. So we was training more hamstring. We added a lot more hamstring and glute work. But yeah, that was that's it basically. Just
Yeah,
hamstrings
yeah,
and glutes.
yeah. I think that's like the thing is though, hamstrings and glutes. That's most women are gonna have problems with that. It's one of those body
Yeah,
parts that is difficult to connect to. It's quite hard to grow, but it's most of all it's difficult to get lean. Like it's taken me many shows to get to a point where they actually came in and I had an actual tie-in. I never even had that my first few shows just because I
yeah,
just carry all my fat down naturally. So
yeah. That's what I feel as well. Like the back of my legs, like on my hamstrings, that's where I carried the fat. So yeah. But looking at pictures when I was like standing to the side, you could see like my hamstrings popping out. I was like really happy. I was like, yeah, I got a hamstring.
So in terms of the posing, how hard is posing?
Oh my days, it is
Did you
hard.
underestimate it?
Yeah, yeah. I knew it was hard, but it is so hard. But you do kind of get used to it. Like my back did stop on show day. My back was bloody killing because I was literally
Yeah.
just walking around with the arch in my back
Dehydration
like
as
the
well.
whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I noticed like it started cramping up a bit, especially my calves were cramping up a bit as well because of dehydration. But yeah, the posing it is hard. yeah, you literally like it was tracking his workouts when I was doing like my posing practice because I'd literally
Yeah.
train and then go to do posing practice as well, and like yeah,
It
you've got
gets you
like
really out of breath. I think people think that posing is easy and straightforward, but whenever I pose, I actually work up a sweat. Like my heart rate, when I used to have a heart rate monitor, my heart rate would get up to like 130 posing, and you think that sounds crazy, but it's not. It's not really, because
yeah,
I think a lot of it is also the way you're breathing, because you're really like you're constantly trying to
you
hold your breath,
yeah.
it's sucking in your stomach, and you're posing and you're flexing, and obviously you are engaging all of your muscles. So it seems like also effortless, but it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to like twist and contort your body, and like you got like face this way, no, put your body this way, but face this way, and then like
Yeah.
just try and get the right angles as well, and like yeah, you're focusing on so much, especially when you've got a routine as well. It's not just like it literally is everything all together, and then you've just got to smile and then look like
Like it's nothing.
yeah.
So in terms of like your next prep, like what have you learned from this prep, and what would you do different if you were to prep again?
Yeah, we definitely, me and my coach, because obviously it was his first time ever doing like bikini as well. So we were kind of like going through it, learning as we were kind of going, and yeah, we've learned so much. But I think what I will do differently is obviously this time I kind of kept my meals similar to how I would have it normally, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I think I would definitely split it out to at least like 5 meals a day, so that I'm having protein throughout the day. So just to maximize like not losing any muscle. And yeah, so I'd probably have like spread my meals out more. And then we would probably focus more on bringing up like certain body parts, like with the training, I think more legs and glutes focus next time. And
Yeah.
then
You have
because
to
I want
start
to
that now
really
though.
build. Yeah, 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 definitely.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna be building up my legs and glutes. And then for peak week, I think I kind of learned, I think I would carb up. I would start dehydrating a little bit because we started dehydrating from the morning the day before. And I think I felt like it was too long. I feel like maybe halfway through the day before, to kind of peak on time on the show. But other than that, I
Yeah,
think
it depends on when you're due on stage as well though. So like
yeah.
that matters a lot. But what did you guys do for your peak week? You did a carb up in the middle of the week,
Yeah,
right?
we kind of front loaded, so we depleted a bit, and then we started gradually increasing the carbs for like 2 days, I think it was 2 or 3 days, and then we pulled back a bit, and then the day before show we started like carbing up a little bit more, and then on show I was just carbing up as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I
because
think
we
it's
didn't want to do it. We didn't want to have a massive carb up the day before show, and then ended up spilling over, and then there's not
yeah.
really much.
It's
Yeah,
really risky unless you're like super in tune with your body. But if you've never really done something like that, you could like it can go either way. You can look up looking amazing, but sometimes
yeah,
I don't know. It's like even for myself, normally what I've done before in previous preps is that I would carb up like yourself in the middle of the week before a show, and sorry, I would go really, really high carbs, as in like 1,000 grams of carbs, 800 grams of carbs. I would like it was not even fun. Like towards the end of the day, it's just not. It sounds great, and like the first few meals, you're like, oh my god, these carbs. But when you're eating almost like 4,000 calories of just carbohydrates, and you can't have like the fun carbohydrates that have the fats as well. No, no, no. It needs to be carbs because it's a carb up. It's not a fat load. It's a carb load. It becomes
yeah.
hard work. But for the last show I did, we did a fat load, and for some reason, my body just responded a lot better to that. Where I had like I don't know, but I can't even remember what I had, like 200 grams of carbs or something the day before, like very little, and that worked out fine. So I'm very curious to see now that I am with my new coach, and obviously, like I'm eating all the carbs only at the moment. I'll be very curious to see what like what he's gonna do, like whether it's before
Yeah,
the show day, whether it's like a carb up in the middle of the week. I think because he's kind of old school, I think my prep is gonna be brutal, but I
yeah.
think I'll be lean. It's gonna be basically chicken and rice with no fucking sugar-free sauces. I probably won't be able
Uh,
to have like sugar-free. Like I don't think he'll give me any like diet drinks or anything like that. I don't know.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think because it says on when he sends my meal plans through, he says like, yeah, sugar-free sauces and like artificial sweetener is fine for now. And I'm like, oh my
For
god,
now.
it's gonna get to a point where I can't. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's so
I'm paying
cool
the guy.
because it's so different. It's so different to what you did
Yeah.
before, isn't it? So yeah,
Yeah, but I think for myself, like that works better because I just don't want the stress of having to think about my food. Like that's why
yeah,
I like doing meal plans. I think it works because you really do eliminate all the variables because like you're not high fiber, low fiber, high carb, low carb, lots of sodium, little sodium. Like those variables aren't there because you eat the same fucking thing every single day, and it's
mm,
just for me easy because I just don't have to try and plan food because like what you're doing with the if it fits your macros, even though you kind of eat the same things anyway, so it's easier because you can just probably click through your
yeah,
meal quickly. It's still probably 20 minutes out of your day where you're just gonna have to sit there and work it out, and then it doesn't quite add up, and you're trying to shave a little bit of here to add a little bit into there,
yeah,
and yeah, I
yeah,
couldn't bother with that in the prep personally. So
yeah.
that's like chicken and rice.
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, if I was to follow a meal plan, I would feel
Restricted.
I could do it. Yeah, I could do it for the prep, but then I would feel restricted and I feel like I would struggle more post show.
Yeah,
Like because then I personally don't want to follow a meal plan all the time. So because I've got kids as well. It's obviously different with you
yeah, yeah,
because it's just you. Whereas like I've got kids and stuff and I like to sit down and have meals with the kids and like I want them to see me eating differently. And
yeah,
I personally enjoy changing. Like if I feel for pizza, then I can make a pizza at home. Like having that flexibility, I feel like I personally it just works better for me. So yeah, that's
yeah.
why
And
I
I
kind
think
of try to keep it as similar as possible during prep, so that I don't. I just wanted to minimize the struggle after as much as possible. So
yeah, and I
yeah,
think when you are doing something like if it fits your macros, because unlike meal preps or meal plans, I should say, where it is very strict, because if it fits your macros or calorie counting, you do know in the back of your head that you can technically have whatever you want. As long as
yeah,
it fits the calories, you can have what you want. And I think that maybe that also, like you say, in terms of post show and perhaps like people's behaviors around food and how it can potentially be problematic and stuff, trying to like talk around it. But I think that is probably a healthier approach for people that do struggle with things like that, because technically you can have whatever you want. You just need to fit it around your daily allowance, and
yeah,
that's it. So
yeah.
it doesn't make you feel like you are depriving yourself by choice, as opposed to I have to deprive myself because it's not on my plan.
Yeah, yeah. It's about like I think finding the restriction that feels least restrictive to you. So like it's
Yeah,
I think everyone is different. Like for you, you like the structure, you're very structured, you like the structure of following the plan and you actually have the ability to change it up. Like it's not like you just follow it and you're like, I can't change it. You change things. I've seen that
yeah,
you change when you want to have something different, you're like, okay, I want to do this. And I think it's so cool that you do that and you show that
yeah,
when you even though you're following a meal plan, you're like, well, I can fit this is this amount of carbs, and instead of having this carbs, I'm going to have this, and you kind of switch it up, and you're not always like just feel like you're stuck having to eat exactly the same because you switch it up still. So
yeah.
you do what
I would
works for
in
you.
prep though. In prep, I wouldn't do that. It's in my
Yeah,
I'm in my off season now, so there is that flexibility. But I think even in a prep, if I wanted to have egg whites instead of chicken, I can't imagine that's too much of a problem. But I don't know,
yeah,
like it's like prep mind and lifestyle. It is slightly different. But
yeah.
before I round it up, because we're coming up to an hour now, what's your advice to anybody that is thinking about competing, like that's new to it all? Like, what advice would you give them?
Um, I would say make sure that you're in a good mindset, like you're in a good place mentally. You're not struggling like with any disorders like around food. You've got a healthy relationship with food, you've got a healthy mindset, and that definitely isn't for everyone. So just make sure like you understand that you're going to be sacrificing a lot. If you've got family, you've got children, it's going to be really hard because it is very selfish. Like I've had like days where I cried my eyes out because I felt like I wasn't being a good mum because I was focusing so much on myself. I'd like, while my kids are at home after school, they've come home from school, I haven't seen them all day, I still had to go out and get my steps in, even if they're at home. So like, I just felt really guilty sometimes. I had a lot of mum guilt. So just make sure that you know that it's something that you definitely want to do. Be realistic with it, that after the show you might struggle with food and stuff like that and your body image. Just make sure you are in a very good place before, like with your body, with your mental health, with food, with everything, before you actually do it, because it isn't just like, I definitely don't think it's for everyone. So yeah.
And I think people need to also be financially stable. Like
Yeah,
competing
yeah.
is really
It,
really pricey. Like
it is
thousands,
expensive. It is
thousands.
expensive. It is
Yeah,
so expensive. Yeah, I would say as well, make sure if you do want to compete, I probably should have done this, is save up like before you actually decide to compete, and like just put a little bit of money here and there, and then like buy things as you go as well. Like
yeah.
with Bikini, you can like, I managed to split it within 2 payments, and just buy things as and when. Like I bought my tan and my makeup and hair, everything all separately, so
Yeah.
it was a lot easier to pay for. But yeah,
Okay.
it's so expensive.
Yeah, very. But anyway, it's been an hour, so thank you very much for coming on. It was good. It
Thank you
went
for having
quick.
me.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. I'm sorry we didn't do a lot of questions. Maybe at some point we could do something similar again. We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, like yeah, that's it really. So
Yeah,
thanks a lot. And if you aren't following Louise's journey, then she will be linked below. She has an Instagram. Go and check her out. She does a lot of what I eat in the days and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So
thank you so much for having me. It's
yeah.
been fun.
Yes, definitely. So thanks a lot, guys. We are gonna go now, and yeah, I'll be back with a video later today. Are you uploading today? When do you upload, normally speaking?
Normally I do Monday and Thursday, but I uploaded both my videos on Sunday, so I just wanted a break from like
Right.
doing anything this week. So I'll be uploading again on Monday. I'll film a vlog or
Okay.
something tomorrow.
Well, go and watch her peak week and her show day videos then.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.